We are live. Does loneliness reflect the relationship we lack or the relationship we have with ourselves? Think about that question there. Can you feel lonely even when surrounded by people? And what does that say about us? Jess, we get to talk about loneliness today. I know it's a season, it's a time of the holiday where this happens for a lot of people. They're in places where you're around family, but you still feel lonely, or you're not around family because you were serving or doing something that takes you away from family. I know when I was in the military, this was a very tough time of the year. Sometime when I was deployed, or when I was away from family. Oftentimes, I'm always away from family. But loneliness do follow us around. Just what are your thoughts on that?
Wow, this question has so many different ways to view it. Can you be in a room full of people and feel lonely still? Absolutely. You could be in a room full of people and feel loneliness because you don't feel the people can relate to you. You don't feel like you belong. You don't feel like you're seen or you're heard or that you matter. Like holiday time and you're in a room, maybe with family or people that aren't with their family and they're in a room of someone else's family and they
Mm.
amongst a group of people, they feel loneliness, like, "These aren't my people. I'm here, and I'm supposed to feel a certain way, but I don't feel that because this is not my people, my tribe, my community, my family." And amongst a group of people that, yes, are I say welcoming you, you feel like a outsider or people that they talk about loneliness and we'll get into some of the conversations we dropped last week. But loneliness is different for so many people. Loneliness is physically being alone. Loneliness is a time and a season in your life where you don't have belonging, where you don't have purpose. It's such an incredible topic to speak about because so many people have their own personal views on loneliness. Could you be in a marriage and feel lonely or in a relationship and feel lonely? Can you be at a party and feel like you're alone? No. What do you think, Asher?
It took me back to you can be alone and you can be lonely, or you can be with people and you're lonely. So either way, loneliness is the thing. I remember when I first joined the military back in 1999 and I graduated. Because my family at the time, we just moved to the United States. And then I went to the graduate I went basic training, I was graduating, but my family, we just got here, so we didn't have no money. And so I invited my sister because she was like, "Hey, I want you to come to my graduation." And she was like, "Asher, man, I would love to come, but I don't have the money right now because we just moved to the country." But I remember I was graduating and I see all of the folks out there that was having their families celebrating and everybody's happy to folks. I was standing by myself, and that's me. No family around. And when I told my sister about it, she was like, every time they tell me about the Asher, I cried because I wanted to be there, but I just couldn't afford it. And it makes me cry every time because I was like, "Ah, man, I was sitting there, just me standing there. Nobody's clapping, cheering for me, just me." And matter of fact, I went to most of my time in the military. Some of the stuff I've accomplished, I was standing by myself up front. But it made me think about that sometimes you accomplish things and you have nobody to celebrate, and you make you feel lonely too, right? A lot of people pursue a lot of things. They get to the top of the mountain and they by themselves on the top of the mountain, nobody to celebrate with. And you feel lonely. Wait a minute, all of this stuff and nobody to celebrate with. So then when it comes back to the holiday piece of it, people got to the end of the year. Everybody's celebrating. We made it through the year. December is here. The year is almost finished. We're gonna celebrate. But then you have nobody to celebrate with. Or you might be celebrating, but the people you're celebrating with, you have no connection with them because they're not your tribe. So a lot of things, but it took me back there when you was talking just now.
I say loneliness is different and feels different, looks different for different people in different phases in their life. Because last week I touched a little bit about my abuela, my grandma. I was
Mm,
blessed to spend a lot of time with her in the last 20 or so years. And there was a time in her life where she expressed she was feeling lonely, that
mm,
she was living on her own. And yes, family would come to see her, but all of the family had their own immediate family and their own work life and friend circle. And the loneliness that she felt in between the family visits was real. She says it was something that I wouldn't be able to understand because I wasn't at that phase or season in my life. She says to sit alone in a room of silence with memories and thoughts and ideas and reflections. She says sometimes those memories, thoughts, and reflections make you feel even more lonely because you miss those things, those times with your family or the things you experienced or did. And now you're just sitting alone in silence. And sometimes silence can be really loud. And how do you shut that off? How do you stop loneliness from leading you down a path of other things, right? Perhaps
Mhm.
depression, perhaps vices. And so being able to express loneliness, I think, is incredibly important, whether you are physically alone or whether you're in a room of people and you feel like you don't belong. Every week we talk about different topics, but the topics all have one or more of the three things in common that guide all of our conversations: growth, mindset, and community.
Mhm.
All of those topics really lead into loneliness. Are you able to push past the loneliness that you feel to say, okay, this is where I am today. This is where I am now. This feeling is not that great. It's not that good. Not something I want to hold on to. How do I overcome that? How do I go from a place of feeling lonely to a place of belonging?
So every word has its opposing word, right? And you tap into just now. Like loneliness has its opposing side, which is connectedness, companionship, belonging, togetherness, community, just closest friendship and union, right? If you have those folks, those things in your life, you can definitely really tap into it. And when you think about just the opposing side of loneliness, the companionship, the belonging, a lot of time people like feel like you belong is the thing that we pursue a lot. That's why we pursue community. And this time of the year, it's a lot of stuff like folks that if you listen right now, oh, they're looking for community right now. People are trying to hang out. I gotta find a place to go hang out for the holidays, to go celebrate other people who's gonna celebrate with me. Because you want to feel like you belong. And when you don't feel like you belong, that's when loneliness really hits you. Because who do you belong to? Who is the community that holds you up, lift you up? Who are the people that are celebrating with you? That's saying, "Hey, I see what you've been doing. You did really good this year, Jess. You got some stuff accomplished. I saw you out there doing your thing, and I celebrate you. And I see what you're doing, and it looks really good." But oftentimes, you get to the end of the year and you finish the year off, but you feel like it's still empty because you don't belong. No connectedness, no community. So a lot of times, I think that's a challenge for a lot of folks have. So if you listen to this right now, you know holiday, you feel like you want to find a place you belong, then check into your community, man. Go tap into people. Hey, reach out to somebody and says, "Hey, it's the end of the year. How you doing over there?" And they're gonna let you know. You can ask the same thing, same question for you. The opposing side of loneliness, Jess. How do you feel about that side of it?
I think sometimes more people are feeling more lonely than someone else thinks. But I'm going to say a couple things because you got my brain going. How many of us have ever been in a place in a space that we say to ourselves, I'd rather be alone than in bad company, right? What does that mean? I'd rather be alone than in bad company. Quick to cut people off, out, goodbye, adios. Partly because I believe like attracts your vibes, your energy. I don't want to be in a place where or with people that don't appreciate me, that are always focusing on negative, are always thinking about the worst. So those are not my people. Those are not my
Mm,
people. And I know that. And so when I feel like I'm walking into a space that the people there are like that, I'm like, oh no, thank you so much for the invite. I got it. This is a doctor's visit. I came to show face, but I have another engagement. I ain't got nothing, but I ain't staying in that room with those people. I'd
it's
rather
a
be
doctor's visit. I don't care.
I'd rather be alone than with that. But in all seriousness, I personally feel that I never walk alone. God is with me,
Mhm.
God is within me, and God is always by my side. And I've been in place where you have been where you achieve something and people that you would want to celebrate you are not there to celebrate you. And that's
Mm,
when I say, I'm gonna clap for my damn self. I'm gonna say, Yay, Jess, you did it. Go, girl. You know what you overcame to get to where you are. It doesn't matter if anyone else sees it. It doesn't matter if anyone else understands and realizes what you just accomplished, what you just did. I think that part of overcoming that feeling of loneliness because there is a difference between loneliness and being alone,
mhm,
right?
mhm,
Loneliness, I associate with being sad
mm.
because it's not a choice.
You're
But
missing
being
something.
alone
Mhm,
could be a powerful space to be in. It's when I do the best thinking. It's when my brain starts to like get creative and think outside the box. It's where I get to reflect and pray. And that space of being alone is serving me. It's
mhm.
fulfilling the purpose that I have within me because I am choosing to use that time alone for something good. Now, can I say that I've ever been in a space in my life where I have felt loneliness? Yes. I feel like there's been times in my life where I've been in a room full of people, but nobody sees or hears me. I talk about how when in the midst of my health struggles and I was barely leaving my house, I would just get myself put together to go out to a family function or something that was required of me. And I'd be sitting in those rooms and no one would ask, how are you feeling? How are you doing? And I felt so alone. I felt, can't they see that I'm struggling? Can't they see that it's difficult for me to just be here? Can they acknowledge what's happening to me in my life and not just be so superficial and focusing in on saying the right thing? Because that's not serving them and it's not serving me. And those places of my life, I have felt loneliness. Something had to change within me in order for me to go from that feeling of loneliness and the sadness that accompanied the loneliness to being able to clap for my damn self. So how did you deal with loneliness when you were in the military?
So here's something. You remember when I tell you about that story when I was at my first graduation in the military and nobody was there for me? So I had to learn from that period to celebrate other people's, like, accomplishment and joy, so I was always being a cheerful person for other people, and it taught me a lot about myself too, because I was like, I always happy for people doing when they do something, I celebrate them, I edify them, and that built up a skill set for me, so I started being grateful for the people that are around me and celebrate with them, because sometimes I think Sadhguru said this, it's like, if you by yourself and you're miserable, obviously in bad company, right? So when I think about it, hey, if I'm by myself and I'm miserable, so my company is so bad, I'm miserable in my own company. So I gotta start figuring out how do I make sure that whatever happens, that I'm tapping into the gratitude part of life. Because I was able to graduate basic training. And I was afraid I was not gonna make it because I was fresh off the boat. Just when I got here, I went straight in the military. 4 months later, I signed up in the military after 4 months. I got here, right? I was there fresh. That accent was strong, Jess. People didn't understand Asher back then, Jess.
I don't get him now.
Jess, Jess, back then they were like, Asher said it again. Man, god damn, I gotta repeat that again. But yeah, so all of that, I say I started to look at other people's victories and their achievements and be happy for them. And in turn, that kind of relieved me of me just, oh, what about me? What about me? I start focusing on helping other people. And then when my time comes, sometime I'm like, yeah, I did it. But it helps me to not to feel like nobody's there for me. By being there for somebody from other people, I felt better about me. So that was something that I used. And plus, when I was overseas in the military, we get together, we celebrate too. It's really good because overseas soldiers stick together. Military folks stay together when they're overseas because it's just you guys. So that helps a little bit too. What about you?
I love that answer because it's so true. The mindset really helps you shift. And when you have that attitude of gratitude,
Hmm.
everything looks a lot different. You're able to appreciate the small things. You're able to appreciate the fact that you had the ability to cheer people on. And so you weren't focusing on the fact that no one was there to cheer you on. You were able to focus on, I have I'm overseas. I'm way far from my family and my friends and the things that I know, but I'm here with my community of soldiers and we are celebrating together. We're finding good in the midst of chaos or in the midst of difficulty. And I think that when people are able to shift their perspective and their mindset and focus in on what it is that they have in front of them, even if it's not people, thinking about, okay, today, I spent the whole day working from home by myself. I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for the fact that I get to meet with the clients that I want to meet with. I'm grateful that if I want to sit in that great chair back there, that's my safe space where I pray and I meditate and I come up with all the crazy, beautiful, brilliant ideas, that I have that option. If I want to be able to bounce an idea off of someone, I have a community of people that I've cultivated. Literally, handpick the people that I want in my circle. And they all respect me and love me for who I am. They don't ask me to change. They don't ask me to be anything other than me. I have friends that I don't have to speak to them for months, and I see them or I call them randomly, and it's no time has passed. I'm able to appreciate the time that I choose to spend alone to work towards what it is that I want to accomplish. I think sometimes loneliness has a lot of other filters,
Mm,
not just the physically being alone. I think when you lack purpose, the heaviness of loneliness weighs even more. When you lack direction, when you lack even dreams, because
mm,
how can you dream, have a dream in your heart, whatever that dream is, and say that you feel lonely? In my opinion, getting caught up during the day in your dreams, that should ignite your soul on fire, whether you're alone or in a room full of people. That should make you want to be better, do better, figure out a way, go get more, go do more. It should help you find that purpose, that direction, that path. And when you're focused on the things that could be, can be, will be, if you do your part, it's almost as if it's no longer loneliness, but it becomes alone from a choice. Or sometimes it's not even being alone. Sometimes it's being in a community of people that get me. They don't have
mm,
to be family to get you. They don't have to listen. You pick up the phone and you tell me, all right, Jess, let's go. I'm not going to ask you where I'm saying, okay, what time do I need to be ready? Why? Because I trust you. I love you. I respect you. I know that you only have goodness towards me and that it's going to be an adventure wherever it is that we go together because that's the community we've cultivated. And going back to what you said about people who don't have community, now is the time to go out and find your community, to find
mhm,
your circle, to create it, to not just sit behind the screen or behind a phone and hide. Because interacting with people on a screen, like on social media and platforms that are social platforms, to me, that's even lonelier than being by yourself because are those real? Are they that's a whole nother conversation, but I'm like, you need to get out from behind the screen and put yourself in a place to whether it's sit in a coffee shop and say hello to people or go for a walk around the neighborhood. And if you go for a walk around the neighborhood every day at 10 o'clock in the morning, you'd be surprised the same people, right?
mm. For the folks who are listening, I'm gonna use this word. I'm gonna say it takes courage to find belongings. It takes courage to seek togetherness. It takes courage to seek out community. It takes courage to go find that closeness with some other people. It takes courage to build friendship, to find union, solidarity, fellowship, inclusion, intimacy. It takes courage to go down that list, Jess, and go after those things. But oftentimes people say I'd rather be lonely than step into the place of intimacy because I'm afraid if I go into intimacy, it might break my heart or I get close to somebody that might hurt me. So oftentimes, a lot of people, right, they remain lonely because that takes that level of vulnerability to go into that space of connecting to other people. Therefore, they remain to themselves. And so that's a different level. But if you definitely are afraid, then I would say New Year is coming. Put on that courage hat and go out there and find a new community and build with people because ain't no sense. I love the scripture. I think I don't. I'm not. I'm a butcher it a bit, but it's something that God says it's not good for man to be alone. I think that's what He says to Adam, right? It's not good for man to be alone, and there's a reason for that because by yourself, oh my God, life is not really worth it by yourself. You need other people. And if it wasn't good for Adam to be alone, that's why God created Eve. Then guess what, my friend? You need people in your life, right? And you get close to people and find the courage to do it. Because if you don't do it, you can get to a state in your life where, like, wait a minute, I got here and nobody's here with me. I know what that feels. What are your thoughts, Jess?
Listen, my Bronx accent and my nasally getting over the flu. Hold on. But what you said is 100% right. And I say that because I know people that have questioned as an adult, how do you go out and make new friends? How do you find new friendships
Mm.
as an adult? Because you're not going and you're not in school.
It's not easy, Jess. How do you make new friends? No, let's jump on this one. How do you make new friends? Because I'm gonna tap into something here. I give thanks on my skill set because I was very good at making friends. And sometimes I didn't really appreciate it until I start doing like other stuff in the world. I'm like, wait a minute, that skill set is important now. How to make new friends? Because a lot of people don't have that skill set, Jess. I'm an extrovert and I know it, right? But I'm a social butterfly. But sometimes you gotta even be a social caterpillar. You gotta start somewhere. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
get to that place where like, oh, you can make friends. But it's not easy. But I understand you gotta go get practice. If you don't practice, you ain't gonna get there. I'm telling you right now. Not at all.
I
Mm,
mean, I think it's it has to go back to mindset and growth.
mm,
You have to, okay, how do I, in the last 10 years of my life, I have new people in my life that I didn't have 10 years ago. In
mm-hmm.
the last 3 years of my life, I have new people that I have in my life that I didn't have 10 years ago. What was it that I did to have those relationships with people? I spoke.
Say yes.
Yes. You have to want to be able to say, "Okay, I want different, so I'm willing to do different. I want new friends. I don't want the same friend." I love the people that I went to school with. Those aren't the people necessarily that I want in my life right now. Doesn't mean we can't be acquaintances, we can't get together every once in a while, but I've outgrown those people. Perhaps their life didn't move them in a similar direction as my life, and so we've gone in different directions. So what did I do? I put myself in position to go out and meet new people.
Mm,
I put myself I'll tell you this, you have conversation with somebody that their energy and their vibe is a magnet to you,
mm,
those are your people. You don't even know them yet, but those are your people. Why? Because you feel drawn to that person. You feel like, "I wanna be that person's friend. I wanna know more about that lady. I wanna meet that guy," and not in a romantic way, but just in a, "I wanna know about him. Can we be friends? Can we hang out? Does he have brilliant ideas? What's his life reference points? Can they help me? Can we add value? Can we change the world?" Whatever it is. And I think that it's a choice you have to make. And as an adult, there's different things that you could do similar to what you did when you were a kid, right? So when you were a kid, maybe you played sports or you did like dance class. There's adult versions of those things. Even there are adult versions of those things. Or even just going to networking events and meeting people. Doesn't when sometimes when you go to a networking event, it isn't because you want to do business with everybody in the room, but I just want to see who's in my area. Who's
mhm,
local to me? What is it that they're up to? What is it that they're doing? What is it that they're involved in? Let's meet up for coffee and chat and find out, what are you up to? What am I up to? Can we be of value to one another? So I found that note and it says, the space in between where we are and where we want to be is the space that requires us to have more faith than fear, more courage than doubt, and more love than pride within ourselves.
mm,
And that is so perfect for this conversation because that's really what it takes to get from a place of loneliness to a place of belonging and a sense of, I'm going to say, worth,
Mm,
because I think that a lot of people equate loneliness with lack of worth, lack of value. So rather than putting themselves out there to potentially be rejected,
mm.
they're safer in the space of fear and loneliness.
We're gonna wrap up with this piece here because it's on the person as well. Because sometimes you might like, I can't find great people, and maybe because great people ain't looking for you either. Too. Sometimes you gotta look at yourself and figure out why you're not meeting awesome people. Because maybe you're not making yourself awesome, and maybe you are awesome, but you just know to show it. And if you don't know to show your awesomeness, nobody's not gonna notice it, and people are like, "Oh, I don't want to be that person. They don't look so awesome." So you gotta find a way to exude, express your awesomeness, be utterly fantastic when you get out in the world because you can do it. And when you put that energy out there, other people gonna recognize and I want to get close to that person. So if you sink back in your thing and just like shrinking down and stuff, people don't want to be around that energy. So you gotta find a way to bloom your flower, like just open and not be afraid of letting people in, because people want to get to know you. I want to get to know you. Like, what about you that you're not sharing? I'm curious. I'm curious about what is playing on in your head right now when you listen to this conversation. What thoughts showed up for you? That's the thought I want to hear. Not what I just said, but what you think about. Because I love to hear that side of other people's story. When they say, hey, Asher, when you said that, made me think of this. I want to hear that. I'm curious now. Now, what played in your mind? So, yeah, Jess, what was your biggest takeaway from this conversation?
First off, I can't believe that 30 minutes went by so fast. More important, I am going to clap and cheer for every single person who is listening to us today and tell you that you are worthy, you are worth it. Your circle of people are waiting for you to arrive. You just have to show up. You have what it
Mm,
takes, you have the mindset, you have the ability to do different, to get different results in your life. Whether it's a small thing or a big thing, I am cheering you on to go out and live unapologetically who you are and realize that tomorrow is another day and another opportunity and another chance to do better and be better. Never sit in a space of loneliness and sadness. There is someone on the other end, whether it's the other end of us, our screen, or the other end of a room, or people that you can reach out to and say, I'm looking to find a community. I am looking to be heard. And can you listen? I am almost 100% positive that someone will say, take a seat, let's talk. But to wrap up, just reminding people that loneliness doesn't have to define who you are. I'm going to urge you all to look deep within, and are you really lonely? And if yes, maybe it's time to think about why and where you are, and remind you that you don't have to stay in this space and place for forever. So challenge yourself to figure out, am I lonely, or am I better off by myself than with negative people while I search for what's next in my life?
mm. Thank you, Jessica. And I would say for the folks that love this podcast, Idea Tennis, we just tennis our way through the loneliness today. I would encourage you to tennis your way through the loneliness that might show up in this holiday. And tennis is pretty much, you gotta think, you gotta elevate, navigate, nurture, innovate, and serve some people around you. Serve somebody on the holiday. This is the thing I love about the holiday, Jess. It's like people give away so much. Like I was talking to my friend. She was like, Gosh, I'm packing up all these bags, so I'll give to my neighbor, I'll give this person. Like people giving a lot this holiday season. So give some of your intimacies, give some of your tenderness. Go out there and connect with people and love with some folks. And you'll be surprised people gonna love back on you. Because we all need that love too. Because that's one of the big cure for loneliness is getting some love in your life.
Absolutely. So remember the attitude of gratitude and that mindset shift. change the whole perspective on how you see things. And my reminder to you is that you're never alone. God is with you, within you, and by your side.
Mm. And some admin note for the folks that are listening. Dare to Ignite Your Dream book is out. It's an anthology book with a lot of immigrants and veterans, myself, but mostly immigrants in there that will share a story and launching next year as well. Memoirs to Millions is coming out. It's a community that we're building. Jess and I are putting together for the folks that just like us that want to put memoirs together. We just gonna specialize in specifically anthology memoirs. That's it. That's what we're gonna build a community new thing next year. So that's coming your way and look forward to that one launching. Jess, I'm excited about that. We're gonna rock that one. Yeah, I've been thinking about a lot of ways we can connect with people that are immigrants out there, that are veterans, that are entrepreneurs, that are doing their thing, or they can come part of this Memoirs to Millions community, and we get to grow together and see how far we can go. Anything you want to drop? Oh, and if you guys listen to this right and you want to reach out to Asher, definitely Asher dot no ASHER dot RA dot STA on Instagram. That's a little platform there. But you can always find me. A better place to find me is on lifechangingwisdom.com. Fill out that information form so I can stay in touch with you because social media is social media. I want to have you in the community. So lifechangingwisdom.com, you can find my business platform. What about you, Jess?
You can find me on Instagram at Success is Your Reward with Jess. Lots of great new things coming up in this new year. But I am incredibly grateful for each and every one of you who listen to us week after week. If you are liking our content, drop some comments below, share this podcast. And it is our privilege to have these conversations each and every week to help you think different and to see that there is no one way or right way of seeing things.
Mm. All right, folks, with that, make it an utterly fantastic week.
Bye.